I would like to greet you. Good morning and welcome to Philosophy 12. Good morning, STEM 1.
Good morning,
Good
sir.
morning po,
Good
sir.
morning,
Good
sir.
morning po.
Good
Good
morning po, sir.
Good
morning
morning.
po.
Okay, it's nice to see you again. It's been a week. So, for today, we will be having another lesson, another activities, and another things to learn and to treasure. So, before we proceed on our activities for today, it is a must for us to recall what did we discuss last time. So, as far as you can still remember, what did we discuss last time? Maybe Cyril? Please tell to
Ano po?
us what did we discuss last time?
What philosophy is?
Okay, yes, we discussed what philosophy is, and also we discussed the different origins of philosophy in the world. And we have three countries there, right? What are those countries? Angela, what are those countries?
Sir, yung ano po, in Spain, Greece, and China po.
Again, what are those countries? Please answer in English.
The countries are Greece, India, and China.
Greece, India, and China. Very good. What a sharp memory. And as far as I can remember, we also discussed the Filipino philosophies, right? What are those Filipino philosophies that we discussed? I would like to call Sophia. Sophia, what are those Filipino philosophies that we discussed? Sophia.
Kagandahang loob, bahala na, and Filipino concept of time.
Very good. So those are Filipino philosophies that we discussed last time. And at the end of our discussion last meeting, we also discussed another topic which starts with letter A, right? Is it letter A? What was that?
Yes po.
Yes, Angela, what is that?
Abundance po.
Abundance, very good. And for us to create or experience abundance, we have to remember what? We have to remember the power of letter C. And that is contentment, isn't it? Isn't it? So, do you have any question regarding our previous lesson, class? Do you have any question?
There's
Hello?
there's no any question.
None po.
Okay, there is
Nope.
no question. So that we can move on our new lesson. But before we move on our new lesson for today, I would like to ask the group leaders to report to me the absentees in our today's class. Where is the leader of group 1, Andre?
There is no absent in the group po.
Okay, very good. Group 1. How about group 2? Kenneth.
No one is absent in our group.
Very good. Group 2 also. How about group 3? Alexa.
There's no absent in group 3, sir.
Okay, excellent. Group 3. And how about the group 4?
All of my teammates are present po, sir.
Okay, very good. What a perfect attendance that we have today. So, it's a good start for us. So, we are done with our short review. Let's move on our new lesson, which is methods of philosophizing. And I prepared a short game. So, all of you should be participative in our short game, ha? So, our short game is entitled Guess the Word. Can you see the presentation, class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, our direction is decode the jumbled words using the given clue. The first one to decode the answer will get the point. So this will serve as your recitation for today. So you have to inform me if you know the answer by raising your hand. So let's start with our first word. And the clue is having mental faculties not dulled by sleep. Meaning to say that person is awake because he or she is what? By the way, these words that we will be having are all related on our today's lesson. I would like to call um, Jed. What do you think is this word? Jed, what do you think is this word? Okay, let me give you another clue. It starts with letter C.
Australia po,
Sir,
sir.
Okay, Miss Estrella.
Conscious po.
Okay, so how about you, Sophia? Do you agree that this word is conscious? Do you agree?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so let us try to see if your answer is correct. Very good. This word is conscious. How about our second word? The clue is the state or fact of having being especially independently of human consciousness and as contrasted with non-existence. The opposite of non-existence. What do you
Sir,
think is this word? Oh, yes, Kenneth.
Sakda.
existence po.
How about Rian? Rayan, Sakdalan, do you believe that the answer is existence as well?
Yes po.
Okay, let us try to see if your answer is correct. Very good. So, 1 point for that. Are you ready for our next word? Okay. Our third word is involving recent techniques, methods, or ideas up to date. What do you think is this word?
Sebanes po.
Oh, Miss Sebanyes.
Modern po.
Yeah, it's modern. How about Maui? Do you think it is modern or do you have
Yes
any
po.
other word? Okay, let us try to see if your answer is correct. Modern, very good. So this is our fourth word for today. The clue is the customary beliefs, social forms, and material traits of a racial, religious, or social group. Oh, Garcia Nathaniel.
Culture po.
Culture. How about Caris? What do you think is the answer?
Culture din po.
Okay, let us try to see. Very good, Nathaniel and Caris. 1 point for that. And last but not the least, we have this. A science that deals with the principle and criteria of validity of inference and demonstration. We discussed it
Sakdalan po.
last time.
Sakdalan po.
Okay, yes, Miss Sakdalan.
Logic po.
How about you, Ellie? What do you think is the answer? Hello, Ellie. Or maybe Ellie is experiencing difficulty in connection. How about you, Krisha? What do you think is the answer?
Logic po.
Logic also. So let us see. Okay, excellent answer, Krisha and Miss Sakdalan. So remember these words that we had because it is connected on our today's lesson. Again, for today, we will be discussing methods of philosophizing. But before we delve on our lesson for today, for us to be guided on our activities in lesson for today, we have here our things to learn. So this things to learn will serve as our objectives or objective that should be attained at the end of our today's discussion. Kindly read this, Carisha.
Evaluate the perception of events in different situations.
Okay, very good. So for today, I'll be sharing to you the different methods on how are we going to philosophize. Methods on how are we going to find out the truth and eliminate falsified information. I'll be sharing you some techniques, and at the end, I am expecting that all of you will know how to spot the falsified information from a text. Are we clear with our objective? Are we
Yes, sir.
clear? Yes, okay. So here are the methods that we will be using today: the phenomenology, postmodernism, analytic tradition, existentialism, logic, and critical thinking. So as you can see, we have two box or two components for logic and critical thinking because we will be applying it later on using the fallacies. Okay? Let's start with phenomenology on consciousness. Kindly read this one, Sandra. Sandra.
Yes, Poser. Husserl found that phenomenology, which is essentially a philosophical method. Pati po ba yun?
Yes, yes.
In Husserl's logical investigation, he argued against psychologism, the idea that the truth is dependent on the peculiarities of the human mind and the philosophy is reducible to psychology.
Okay, very good. So if you are sleeping, are you still aware of what is happening around you? If you are sleeping, are you still aware to what is happening around you, class?
Not po.
How about the others? Maybe they are aware. How about the
No.
others? No,
Nope.
as well. Very good.
No po.
So, in phenomenology, it is connected to consciousness. So, meaning to say, when we are conscious, we know what is happening around us. And in phenomenology, it can be used as a method on philosophizing since you can distinguish right from wrong because you are conscious to what is happening around you. And sometimes, because of the um, not so good processes in our minds, or we are being deceived by someone or something, this consciousness became damaged. Okay, so in some cases when we perceive something from a source which is not a valid source, um, this consciousness of us might be dissolved later on. But of course, we have to still be conscious. Be conscious that it is a falsified information. Okay, the word phenomenon comes from the Greek word phenomenon, meaning appearance. Immanuel Kant used the same word to refer to the world of experiences. So, from the previous discussion that we had, I've mentioned to you that not all the things that we can see in the world are considered correct because there is a still underlying principle on everything. Say yes if you agree.
Yes.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay. It focuses on careful inspection and description of phenomena or appearance defined as any object of conscious experience that we are conscious of. It refers to our ideas. So, safe to say that we cannot decide on something if we are not conscious, right? And being conscious means we are actually using our brain. So you cannot tell me that, sir, sorry, because I wasn't able to hear you. So that means you are not conscious. Maybe you are sleeping. So please see to it that you are not sleeping during our class. Next, the Phenomenological Method is a series that continuously revises our perception of reality. It is the study of lived experiences. Phenomenology removes the bracket out the non-essentials. Since we are conscious, if the previous information is now an obsolete, or meaning to say that previous information that we had is not usable nowadays, definitely we have to bracket it out. So meaning to say it would be put into a place which is called non-essential. So this are what we call the schema, which later on can be used to build up another information. So that it's very important to use emptying. Both phenomenology and postmodernism reject the modernity and their contribution in science and technology. progress as seen by both is oppressive and destructive because both science and technology wanted to level up, wanted to create something. But here in phenomenology, science and technology are seen only in the first layer of our mind, which means there is still underlying principle on it. Okay, so far are we clear? So far are we clear?
Yes po.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
Yes.
So kindly read this one, Lian.
Alin po ba?
Yeah, kindly read what's written on the slide.
According to Husserl, phenomenological standpoint is achieved through one epoch or suspension. He discussed in ideas general introduction to pure phenomenology, in which phenomenologist brackets all questions of truth or reality, and simply describes the concept of consciousness. Who some intuitions are eidetic, that is, they reveal necessary truths, not just the contingencies of the natural world.
Okay, very good. So let's tackle first epoch or suspension. So a while ago, I've told you what is bracket out. So meaning to say we are eliminating information which are not be usable or which are called absolute. So for number two, some intuition are eidetic. So meaning to say, most of the time we have kutob in Tagalog. We have intuition, and mostly those intuitions will lead us into something which is good. So you always have to remember on your intuition, it's a gift from God. So mostly girls have more into have higher level of intuition compared to boys. And girls, you have to listen always to your intuition because it will lead you. Okay. Next. So why are we discussing these things? Why are we discussing intuition in suspension? Because apart from phenomenology, which is consciousness, we have to be aware, of course, to our feelings as well. The first thing that we discussed is phenomenology on consciousness. The second one is existentialism on freedom. So I would like to ask you, do you believe that in every freedom that we have, there is a corresponding responsibility? Do you believe in that? Class, do you believe in that?
Yes, sir. Yes po.
Okay, so some of you agree to that quotation. Okay, so me also, I also believe that in every freedom there is a responsibility because there is no such thing as 100% freedom. Of course, partner of freedom is limitation. Existentialism is often thought to be anti-religious because it questions the basis and purpose of man's existence in the world. Because in existentialism, we are focusing on the question, what should I do as a person to be happy? So mostly, we will do whatever we want because we believe that is the reason why we are existence. So in that case, it is called as anti-religious. Okay? Because most of the time, what we wanted are against the law of God. Okay. Next. This time, I would like you to read this one, Irish.
Sir, existentialism on freedom. Common themes of existentialism: the human condition or the relation of the individual to the world, the human response to the condition, being special, the difference between the being of the person, which is existence, and the being of the other kinds of things.
Okay, very good. So talking about existentialism, it came from the word exist. Okay, so we are existing inside the society. And society, safe to say that society always dictates us. Society dictates the trend, dictates what we should do. But in existentialism, talking about this, we are not following at all times what the society dictates us, right? For example, the trend nowadays is a rebonded hair and a colored hair. But since you are not fond of colored hair and rebonded hair, you will not follow the trend because you believe that you have your own path to follow. You have your own uniqueness and you have the things that you wanted. That is existentialism, your freedom. Okay? Next, kindly read this one. Um, Carla. Carla.
Existentialism on freedom, human freedom, the significance and unavoidability of choice and decision, the absence of certainty, and the concreteness and subjectivity of life as lived, against abstraction and false objectification.
Okay, very good. Since we are talking about the freedom and your existence in the world, I would like to ask you, um, Desiree, what is your dream in life? Desiree,
I want to be a doctor po.
you want to be a doctor. Very good. How about you, Kenneth? What is your dream in life?
I want to be a nurse po.
Again, what's that?
I want to be a nurse po.
Nurse also. In a medical field, how about you, Noreen? Noreen. Okay, maybe Noreen is experiencing difficulty in connection. How about you, Alexa? What do you want to be in the future?
I want to be a veterinarian.
Again, what's that?
I want to be a vet po.
Ah, veterinarian. Okay. So the reason why I ask you what you wanted to be when you grow up or what you wanted to be someday is that it is connected to existentialism. No matter how powerful the force of the society to dictate you on whatever you wanted to be or whatever you should be, still it is upon your decision whether you will follow it or not. Remember, we are surrounded by the different opinions, we are surrounded by the different views, but still the only person that knows what you want, the only person that knows who really you are and your dream is only yourself. So believe in the power of yourself, believe in the power of your existence. Soren Kierkegaard was the first existentialist. He insisted that authentic self was the personally chosen self as opposed to public or earned, which is the tendency of the people to blindly follow the crowd because it is familiar, easy, and less stressful. And that is true in our society. Some people will judge you if you will not follow what the society is dictating you to do, right? Many bashers out there. But remember this quote that I will give you. The more you explain, the more you are guilty. You don't have to explain because in yourself you know that you are right and nothing more to explain. Remember that quote. It applies here in existentialism. No matter how many bash that we receive, no matter how many hard words we receive, remember the goodness in your heart, remember your goal, um pursue your goal, and remember it is better to achieve your goal, and at the end of the day you will achieve it without hurting anyone. Jean-Paul Sartre, a French philosopher, emphasized the importance of free individual choice regardless of the power of other people to influence and coerce our desire, beliefs, and decision. So mostly we follow the track which is already done by the people. But it is better if we will create our own track. Okay, remember we are different from each other. Their success is not our success. Their success is for them only. So we have to create our own success, our own path. That is the reason why we are discussing existentialism. Believe in the power of your dreams, believe in the power of yourself because you have a freedom. But remember, as I've told you earlier, the partner of freedom is letter R. What is that? In every freedom, there is letter R. Again, everyone.
Responsibility,
Responsibility po.
Okay, very good. Responsibility. And since you have a freedom to choose your the quality of education that you want, you still have your responsibility to attend our class and to not sleep during our class. Please make it sure that you are still awake. Okay, Socrates already concerned himself with the authenticity of the self, the genuineness of his thought, and the action. The good of his soul, he sought not only opinion, but self-knowledge, true to oneself. So, although there are different opinions out there regarding what we should do, it's good if we will listen to them, but still follow what's inside your heart. Remember your intuition. I've told you earlier, right? You are conscious, right? And you have to follow, you have to hear what your intuition is saying. So, before we proceed on letter C, the postmodernism, I would like to ask you what are the two methods that we able to discuss earlier? This time um, I would like to ask Andre, what are the two methods
The,
that we discussed?
the phenomenology po and the
Exist?
existentialism po.
Okay, very good. So we are now down to the third one, which is the postmodernism, which pertains to culture. And I would like you to read it lovely.
Postmodernism is more of an attitude and reaction to modernism, which is a worldwide view of order, logic, and authority based on knowledge. Reality cannot be known or described in postmodernism.
Okay, very good. So in postmodernism, it is perceived as against the improvement, against the newly invented technology, because the people here believe that culture should be valued more. Tradition should be valued more. And because of the existence of technology, technological advancement, we tend to forget the past, the rich history, and our culture, right? Kindly read this one, Maui.
Postmodernists believe that should come a truth beyond the rational to the non-rational elements of human nature, including the spiritual. They also consider that to arrive at truth, humanity should realize the limits of reason and objectivism.
Okay, very good. So remember, sometimes improvement is good, change is good because change is constant, right? We cannot stop change. But then again, in the time of change, we also have to remember and consider the rich history that we have. Okay, so it's okay for us to experience globalization in terms of the newly built infrastructure. But remember, the land that's being utilized there has a culture to tell, has a history to tell. Remember that. And of course, we have analytic tradition. The philosophers in this tradition pointed out that the language cannot objectively describe truth. For Ludwig Wittgenstein, language is socially conditioned. And with that, we can say that a specific word might have a different meaning to Andre and might also have a different meaning to Lovely because we have different culture, we have different background. So we can say that a correct belief in our country or a belief in our country might not be considered valid in the other country. Remember that. It's because of the differences that we have. So Alfred Tarski, a Polish-born US mathematician and logician, avoided ambiguities to accomplish the definition of truth. For him, truth shows properties and is based on physical facts. So, given the fact that we are all different, we still have to follow an order. So, I'm talking about the words, differences in terms of meaning. That is the reason why we have a dictionary, a world dictionary, so that you will be aware that this is the denotative meaning of the word. So remember, we have two meanings, the denotative and a connotative meaning. So there is a meaning which is being derived from our experience. There's also a meaning which is being derived from the meaning in the dictionary. So for us to avoid difficulty in terms of communication or miscommunication, we have to be aware of the cultural differences or racial differences as well. The natural language and their everyday use are infected with various deficiencies which fail in processing consistency, which is an essential value for truth seeking. Sometimes we received a compliment. So, for example, your classmate told to you that, "Oh, you are so beautiful. You are so unique. You're so extravagant." And yet, the response of your classmate is like this: "Why is she saying that to me? She's so pathetic." Okay, maybe because the way that your classmate mentioned those words are different. Okay, maybe because he only said that ironically. Okay, so we have to be aware of that. We also have letter E, logic and critical thinking as a tool in reasoning. So, based from our previous lesson, when we discussed the branches of philosophy, I've mentioned there that logic does not contribute directly to our knowledge. It is only a tool on how we are gaining knowledge, right? So it's only a help for us. And it is partnered with critical thinking. Why do we need to use critical thinking in answering problems? How about you, Michelle? Why do we need to use critical thinking in solving problem?
It guides us to have some knowledge about the problems.
Okay, very good. Because if we will use critical thinking, we will see the different side of the issue before we create our own judgment, right? So that we will not be like Ma'am Marites or Maring Marites who always believes in gossip, spreading gossip. Okay, this time I would like you to read what is logic. Please read it, Jamel. Jamel, kindly read this one. Hello. Maybe Jamel is experiencing difficulty in connection. How about you, Francines? Kindly read this one. Francines. Hello, are you still with me? How about you, um, Hugo? Hello, Hugo.
Po.
Okay, kindly read this one.
Logic is centered on the analysis and construction of arguments. Critical thinking is distinguishing facts, objective, and opinions, subjective. Critical thinking helps us uncover biases. A factual claim must present evidence of reason.
Okay, very good. So, in talking about the logic, we are using this to analyze the argument or also to construct an argument. The argument that I'm pertaining here is the negative argument. I'm pertaining to on how are we going to give our opinion or to give our justification on something. And if we are using logic and critical thinking, we will evaluate the different side of the issues and we will try to see the parts of the sentences if it is true or if it's based on factual information or falsified information. And also, we are evaluating the message, if it is objective or subjective. So when we say objective, it is based on factual information, and when we say subjective, it's based on opinion. So we always have to be aware of those. So far, are you still with me? Are we still clear?
Yes po.
Yes,
Okay,
sir.
very good. So take this as an example. Passage letter 8 says that a dark tan may seem attractive, but recent studies have shown that too much sun exposure may lead to cancer. The statement that claim to present the evidence or reason are called premise. So the idea here is that there is an information and there is a supporting information. Okay, how about in letter B? Human cloning is evil. This purports to prove something, and this is an example of conclusion, because you are already concluding that it is an evil act. Cloning, it is an evil act. You are already giving your own conclusion. Final. This is final. No one can ever remove this opinion of mine. Just like that. Okay. How about now passage letter C? Human cloning should never be allowed. This is also an example of conclusion because you already gave your own conclusion. For me, it shouldn't be allowed at all. Okay? So why do we need to learn it? Okay, later on we will know. So there are two types of reasoning. The first is, what is the first one, Cyril?
Inductive reasoning based from observation in order to make generalization.
Okay, very good. So when we say inductive reasoning, we are giving first examples, we are giving first our observation before we come up to a conclusion. And it is the opposite of deductive reasoning, because in deductive reasoning, conclusion will be given first and the examples will follow. Okay? So take this as an example. All philosophers are wise. Confucius is a philosopher. Therefore, Confucius is a wise. So we have major premise which gives a broad idea, the minor premise which gives an example, and the conclusion. Okay? Your conclusion and your major premise should be connected to each other. Okay? So please use this example because later on your learning kit, I'll be asking you to create your own um, inductive or deductive reasoning. So you always have to consider the validity and the soundness of an argument if it is based from factual information or not, and the strength of an argument if it is really definable or not. So far, are we clear with this one?
Yes, sir.
How about the others? Are we clear with this one?
Yes, sir.
Yes po.
Yes po.
Okay, how about say yes if you are still with me? Say yes if you're still with me.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Yes po.
Ay,
Yes,
nako.
sir.
Some of you said, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Nako, a bit sleepy na. Okay. We are now down to the last part of our discussion. Yes, last part. But of course, we have 11 different components of this one. I will give you examples later in every component. So let's define first what is fallacy. Sophia, what's fallacy?
It is a defect in an argument other than its having false premise. To detect fallacies, it is required to examine the argument's content.
Okay. Meaning to say, fallacy is the deficiency. Fallacy is the incorrect statement in a sentence, or maybe in a speech, in a paragraph, or in a written word. Okay, so why do we need to evaluate the fallacy in the sentence? So that we will be aware of that, and of course, we will not believe in that at all, and we will not be deceived once we know what is fallacy. So let's have the first example. Appeal to pity. Argumentum ad misericordiam. Kindly read this one, Harvey.
A specific appeal to emotion in which someone tries to win support for argument or idea by exploiting his or her opponent's feeling or of pity or guilt.
Okay, so in this kind of fallacy, the statement is pushing you to believe in that because it is exploiting or it is gaining our pity. And since we are only human, we have pity in our hearts. Take this as an example. You should not find the defendant guilty, since it would break his poor mother's heart to see him sent to jail. And if that's the case, it should not be put in jail, hmm? because of the mother's um because of the mother's emotion? No. Okay. So it made the sentence fallacy because it is exploiting our pity. Okay, the mother would be sad if we will put her son into jail. And it is not correct, right? Okay, next. Appeal to ignorance. This time, I would like you to read it, Raphael. Hello, Raphael. Raphael, hello. How about you, Jed? Kindly read this one. Jed,
Appeal to
hello.
ignorance.
Yes.
Argument to add ignorance. Whatever has not been proven false must be true and vice versa. There is no evidence that UFO are not visiting the Earth. Therefore, UFOs exist and there is intelligent life elsewhere in the universe.
Okay, very good. So in appeal to ignorance, it is only for those who are not aware of something. Because if we are not aware of something, for example, if we are in this statement, we are not aware of UFOs because we can see UFOs on the sky, right? So that if we cannot see it, that means it is existing. Remember that, ha? It's somehow tricky. Remember this. If we cannot see things, we should believe in that because it is not yet proven. Okay. Did you get it? You should believe in things that you can see because it is not yet proven. This is what we call appeal to ignorance. Okay, how about the third one? Equivocation. Kindly read this one. Mark Joseph. Mark Joseph, kindly read this one. Hello? Nako, what happened to them? How about you, Crystal Ann? Kindly read this one. Equivocation.
Equivocation is this logical chain of reasoning of a term or a word several times but giving the particular word a different meaning each time.
Okay, very good. So earlier, I have told you that even though we used English for today, there might be a misunderstanding regarding the usage of the word. And somehow, it is connected to equivocation. So take this as an example. I have the right to watch the real world. And if we will just read it, we might perceive that the real world that the person is saying here is what is actually happening here nowadays. For example, the COVID-19. Okay? The government response in the COVID-19 is the real world for us. And if we will continue on reading, the real world that's being pertained here is actually the show, the TV show. So sometimes we might find it tricky because of the different usage of the word, and it is under equivocation. How about this one? Composition. This time, I would like you to read this one, Shen. Shen. Hello? Nako, class, your classmates are sleeping na. Oh, Mary. Marie Valmadrid, kindly read this one. Hello.
Co- Composition. This infers that something is true of the whole from the fact that is true of some part of the whole. The reverse of this fallacy is division.
If you stand up at a concert, you can usually see better. However, you know that it doesn't work for all. So composition, what is true to me might be true as well to the others. So in this example, if I will stand during the concert, I will see clearly those artistas out there. But if all the person will stand, do you think it would be possible for me to see? No, of course. So what is true to me might not be true to the others. Okay? Next, division. One reasons logically that something true of a thing must also be true to all of some of its part. So I made you as my example. The grade 12 student of St. John's School eat a lot of rice. Sander is a grade 12 student of St. John's School. Therefore, he is eating a lot of rice because I've mentioned in the first statement that the grade 12 student or all the grade 12 students are eating a lot of rice. So therefore, each individual or each member of grade 12 student is eating a lot of rice. But it's not true, of course. Remember, what is true to majority might not be true to you, right? Okay, even though it's only 1%, there is still a chance. Next, against the person or argumentum ad hominem. Attempts to link the validity of a premise to a characteristic or belief of a person advocating the premise. However, in some instances, question of personal conduct, character, and motive, among others, are legitimate if relevant to the issue. All murderers are criminal, but a thief isn't a murderer, and so can't be a criminal. So, let's analyze this example. In the first sentences, it was mentioned there that all murderers are criminal. So, if we will define criminals, this person are the one who committed an lawful act. But in this statement, only murderers were given were given as an example, right? Only murderers. So meaning to say, all the other unlawful acts or all the other person who did an unlawful act are not criminals. Okay? So it was only used here. It was compared in this fallacy. So remember, um, do not be confused with this one. It was described here that that the murderers are only the criminals. How about those thieves? How about those others who raped someone? How about those other who steal something? Just like that. They are still criminals. Okay, how about this one? Number 7. So I would like you to read this. Seed. Hello, Seed, are you there?
Opo, sir.
Yes, kindly read this one.
Appeal to force. An argument where force, coercion, or a threat of force is given as a justification for a conclusion.
I'll kick you. I'll kick you out if you will not shut your mouth. So meaning to say, in appeal to force, a person will believe because of fear, because of the coercion being given. So remember, all the information, regardless if it is true or false, we should avoid putting coercion to that. Next, we are near to finish. How about number 8? Kindly read this one. Michael Jan. Michael John, kindly read this one. Okay, how about Maki Jimenez? Kindly read it.
Appeal to the force of people. An argument that appeal or exploit people's vanity, desire of perspective and anchors on popularity.
Okay, so most of the advertisement in television and other media uses this fallacy because people will believe to the advertisement if most people use that, or we will believe in that advertisement if the advertiser is an artista, or if the advertiser is really good. Okay, so let's have an example. Tide Ultra is better than Surf because many people used it. Okay, because of this statement, many people will use the Tide now, will use the Tide Ultra because there are many Filipinos who are using it. Or some might say that, um, for example, Chris Aquino said that only Bello touches my skin. In return, many girls or many people will go to Bello Medical Group for facial and other skincare. And of course, we have the number 9, false cause. This fallacy is also referred as coincidental correlation or correlation, not causation. Every time I wash my car, it rains. Do you think it is true? Uh, Safe to say that it might be only a coincidence, right? So there is no such thing. Okay. Let's proceed with number 10. Hasty generalization. Kindly read this one, Kenneth. Kenneth, kindly read this one.
Hasty generalization. The fallacy is based on a broad conclusion upon the statistics of a survey of small group that fails to sufficiently represent the whole.
Okay, very good. So if my brother likes to eat pizza and french fries, wow, I want to eat that, and he is healthy, I can say that pizza and french fries are healthy and don't really make a person fat. How I wish. Okay. So, meaning to say, if you see someone and he or she is proving something, for example, like this one. His brother is eating pizza and french fries, and we all know that pizza and french fries are not good in our health because it adds cholesterol and it has high level of calories. And your brother, you think he is still healthy, and because of that, you will eat pizza and french fries many, many times. Okay? Because you believe that it will not make you unhealthy because your brother looks still healthy. But definitely, maybe it is because of the reaction of his brother's body. Okay, let's proceed to number 11, which is the begging the question. And this one, I would like to you to read this, um, Crystal Ann.
Beginning the question.
Begging po.
Ay, sorry. My fault. Begging the question. Policy in which the proposition to the proven is assumed implicitly or explicitly in the premise.
Okay, Jane is intelligent, insightful, well educated, and personable individual, which begs the question, why does she stay at that dead end job? Okay, it's because of the characteristic of Jane, and she was described as almost perfect. And people will ask a question, why does she stay at that dead end job? Okay, so begging the question is um asking the question against the subject of our statement. And mostly, in my case, some people are asking, why are you still teaching in private school? Yet you are already a board passer. And my answer would always be like this. It is my choice because in St. John's School, we are a family. Okay? Just like that. Still the choice of the person, and who cares, right? Okay. So, do you have any question regarding our today's discussion, class? Any
And so
question?
far,
None so
None, sir.
far. Maybe later you will have a question. Okay. So, if you don't have any question, then I will ask you a question. Okay? So, it's time to share. So, it's time for you to share what you have learned in our today's discussion. I will not ask you a question. All you have to do is to just share. Once I call your name, you will share something that you have learned from our today's discussion. Okay, let us start with Lester RJ. What did you learn from our today's discussion, Lester? Hello, Lester. Hello, Lester. Are you still with us? Oh, next. How about you, Desiree? What did you learn on our today's discussion? Open your cam, please. Des, hello.
Sir, ito po. Natutunan ko po
Oh,
yung
speak in
dalawang
English. We are in an English class.
sorry, sir. I have learned the different wait lang po, sir.
Okay, I will wait for you.
I have learned the two types of reasoning, and it is inductive reasoning and deductive reasoning po.
Okay, very good. So that during our next activity, you will find it easy na lang, ha? Okay, how about you, Irish? What did you learn today? I wanna hear you.
Sir, I've learned about the five methods of philosophizing. That's phenomenology, ano? Phenomenology wait, on consciousness, then existentialism on freedom, then uh, third one, I forgot the third. Analytic tradition, postmodernism on culture, and lastly about logic and critical thinking tools in reasoning.
Okay,
Po.
very good. I would like to give you a virtual clap. Okay, how about Cyril? Yes, please share something that you've learned.
Sir, I've learned today that what phenomenology is. Phenomenological method is a series that continuously revises our perception of realities.
Okay. So again, I would like to give emphasis that the reason why we are discussing the methods of philosophizing is that for us to avoid these fallacies, for us to figure out if what we are reading, what we are hearing are all correct or not. Okay. So are we clear with our today's discussion? Are we clear with our today's discussion?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Since
Yes,
we are
sir.
clear, at the end of our today's discussion, after our class, I would like you to write something that you have learned today from our today's discussion, and you have to send it on our GC. Okay? So some of you are still having stage fright, and you can't speak in front of the class, and I accept that. I'm okay with that. And what you need to do is to just send what you have learned on our today's discussion on our group chat. Okay, I will wait for that until 12 only. Okay, so let's move to the activities that we need to do on our learning kit. For our think about it, what we need to do or what you need to do is to rearrange those jumbled words to form the hidden message. Okay, so you have to write your answer on the space provided, and afterwards, you have to reflect on that specific quotation. What do you think is the implication or the application of that quotation to your life? Okay? And for task to do, we have to choose the best answer by first reading the statement and identifying what is being described or asked in that. Okay? You have to write your answer on the space provided. For things to ponder, what you need to do is to answer or complete this Venn diagram about existentialism and postmodernism. So you have to write their similarities and their differences. So are we clear with our activities? So far, are we clear? Okay?
Yes, sir.
And for our last activity, I know it would be very easy for you. So because you need to create a deductive or inductive method of reasoning. So you have to use the topics that we have here: the Philippine president, smartphone, beauty products, social media trend, and Philippine flower. So I already gave you an example in this one. So you need to follow my example. Okay? So, meaning to say, three sentences for each item. Are we clear with this one? Are we clear with this one?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So again, I would like to remind everyone to please submit your learning kit if you are not yet submitting it, and also please make it sure that you will finish answering your learning kit ahead of time. I will be giving you the remaining time for you to finish your other activities. So any question before we end? Any
None, sir.
question? Okay, so how about the others? Any question?
None
None.
po, sir.
Answer.
Okay, so if you don't have any question, I hope you've enjoyed and learned something from our today's discussion. This is still your teacher, RJ, your teacher in Introduction to Philosophy. That will be all for this week. Goodbye, class. Goodbye, STEM 1.
Thank you, sir.
Bye, sir. Thank
Thank
you
you.
po.
Bye, sir.
Bye,
Thank
sir.
you
Thank
po.
you,
Thank you.
sir.
Thank you
Bye.
po.
Goodbye po, sir. Thank you po.